I have some of them, but Melissa's going to pull the rest, and then we'll start on the
Okay, it's 7 o'clock, we'll start the meeting. Welcome to the Board of Ed meeting. We're happy to have you here and appreciate any input or ideas you have to share with us. The agenda for the meeting is available. The first meeting, and I know this is crazy, this is July 27th, but this is the first meeting of the month in July. We'll get back to a more likely scenario starting next month. The board discusses and votes on items on the agenda. If you have questions about these items, please speak with a board member after the meeting. The public comment section is your opportunity to bring issues to the board, ask questions, make comments. We appreciate your presence and ideas and ask that you try to limit your remarks to no more than 5 minutes on any given on a given topic. The executive session is at the portion of the meeting when the board discusses legal, personal, and student issues. These matters are confidential. The board needs to meet privately for this portion, and the public is excused. After our executive session, we reconvene, take action on issues discussed. You may return to the meeting at this time if you wish. Okay, so we'll get started. The first item on the agenda is the public comment section.
No, we moved it to discussion, so Scott.
Oh, okay. Okay, I hope, since we have one board member who is falling asleep in a distant land, we've reordered the agenda to help him participate. So the first item that we have under discussion is the board self-evaluation. Some things were added to it today. I hope that people had a chance to look at them. There were 3 different approaches to the board self-evaluation. Did you get a chance to look at them, Scott?
Yes.
Okay. So discussion is open on people's feelings about which way to proceed using one or more of these approaches. So any comments from anyone is now welcome.
I like the first example that was provided by NISBA. I thought it was very thorough, and I liked the, does the procedure need attention, yes, no, or I don't know, and I thought that might be helpful.
Anyone else?
I also like that one.
Okay.
And their custom board retreats idea too.
I'd have to say I would agree with them that I kind of like that as well, for this, for the school board.
Scott, do you have any input on that?
You kind of like NISBA, and what was the second thing?
All 3 said they liked NISBA as an approach, and Cheryl said that she liked the idea of the board retreat to deal with the results of the survey.
Yeah, I was okay with either survey from a self-evaluation perspective. It was okay with either one of those. I thought they both covered a broad spectrum.
All right, so it appears we have a consensus on the NISBA approach, so why don't we plan on doing that one? I don't think we really need to have a vote on it, since everybody appears to agree, and it's just agreeing on a survey. Okay, so are we agreed that we have a vote? I don't think we're going to need one. Okay, so the next point on the agenda is the board retreat. The question is, do you want to have a summer retreat, and what would be the purpose and area of study?
Can I ask, if you did have a board retreat, what is the time frame, dates, potential? I know that's probably after the fact, but have you had one in the past, and when have you had them, on Saturdays, during the week?
They've been different times, but usually during the week in the evening,
Okay.
for 3 or 4 hours.
Right here at the school, I'm assuming then, or
Well, we've usually gone elsewhere, so we can have food attached to it.
Okay.
And so, is there interest in doing that in August at some point?
Yeah, I have interest.
It would be helpful. I don't know how the mission, vision, values was coming, but I could see that we, as a board, might need time to work specifically on that some more before we presented that to the district. But I looked at the convention that you suggested, Mark, and I'm sure that I would have to teach both that Thursday and Friday of that convention.
Okay. What I think would be the obvious topics, if we did have the retreat, which a few people are interested in, would be the, both the vision question and the results of the survey that we would fill out.
Right.
And I can just tell you time frame wise, the vision committee is planning on presenting to the board at the August 13th meeting. And so I'm thinking that it would make sense to have the retreat after that so that we could consider the latest iteration of the vision, as well as go over the, and use that as a, that August 13th meeting as a kind of a deadline to fill out the survey about the, the board self-evaluation. So is that time frame after the 13th agreeable?
It's the 10th, not the
No, but they're presenting on the 3rd. No?
The board meeting is the 10th.
Oh, sorry, okay, so after the 10th then.
So
I
the
think
week
that would
of,
make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
the week of the 14th to 18th, we'd be looking at.
Yep. Would that week, the 14th to the 18th, be good for everyone?
Not for me,
When are you back?
the Saturday the 19th, so I'm gone that week after.
So how about we do it, would it work out for everyone the week after that?
And you're talking about for August, or what month?
Yes,
are you talking
August.
about? All right, you're saying the 14th to,
Not the 14th.
No, after the 19th.
oh, after the 19th.
So let's all look at our calendars and see if we can come up with a date.
I could do 21, 22, 23. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Okay, August 21, 22, 23. Does anyone have any preference between those three dates? I'm thinking an evening meeting from like 5 to 9.
21st or 22nd would be my preference out of those 3 dates.
Anyone have any problem with either of those dates?
Yeah, yeah. I'm just checking my calendar right now. Probably any one of those, if we're talking about the evening, would work for me.
All right, so how about Tuesday the 22nd? Is that agreeable?
Okay,
Yes?
like 6 to 9 kind of time frame.
5 to 9?
We usually not at dinner for 5, right?
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah, we usually have dinner at 5 and then have the meeting thereafter, usually from 6 to 9. Would that work for you, Scott?
Yeah, that's fine. I just was wanting to know what to book on the calendar.
Okay. So is that agreeable with everybody? Okay, great. So it'll be the 22nd, August 22nd from 5 to 9. And we've had it at the bowling alley in the past, and they're kind of dining room in the back. Would that be agreeable?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll check with them if that's available, but if not, we'll find some place to meet and let you know.
That's great.
Okay? All right, next point is board committee. Okay, obviously, there is one person in this list who is no longer a member of the board, so we need to fill those positions and/or reorganize any of the other positions based on people's preferences and desires. So what I think first I would ask, do we just want to replace Carol's positions? Is that, or do people have other desires? Anyone
Fine
fed
with
up with
that.
their committee that they're on and want to leave? Okay. All right, so we'll go ahead and replace Carol. So first we have finance, which was Carol and Scott. Is there anyone interested in joining the finance committee?
The only question or
Okay, well, I guess I would be willing to bite the bullet. I was on the finance committee previously, and, so I would be willing to do that. So,
I'm very comfortable to stay on it. I just am concerned if it's just Chris and I, and we have the least amount of experience in dealing with it. And having done it for my first year, there is a bunch that you have to learn. It's not just straight budgeting kind of stuff because of the funding models and things like that. So.
okay, so, so I'll go on to the, finance committee. That would mean I would, how many do I have? One, two, three. Okay, so the next one with Carol is, the negotiations. Is there anyone interested?
I would be interested in that.
Okay. Is there anyone else that's interested in negotiations?
I actually would be interested in that.
There's one concern I had about that. I thought about this ahead of time, that, being the husband of an employee of the district, that might, kind of create an appearance of conflict of interest. So,
I could probably see that on one side, but on another side, we got experience. I'm a negotiator right now on the administrative team where I'm at, and the big thing that I look at for negotiations is just fairness.
okay.
So I think I could easily refute that. It's just my own belief, unless you
All right,
think
so,
otherwise.
oh, well, we have two candidates. We'll just have a vote, and that will resolve the question.
All right.
Okay, so, it's, Chris and also Rachel. So, all in favor of Rachel? Raise your hand. All in favor of Chris? So that would be two, I would assume. All right, it's a tie.
I raised my hand on Chris.
Yep. All right, well, I guess I will break the tie and vote for Rachel. So Rachel will be on the negotiating committee. And then we have policy. Is there anyone interested in joining policy? Do you know what that is?
Yes, I do. I mean, if there's no takers, I can go on policy as well.
Is that agreeable? Everyone else, okay? Then we have scholarship. Are you both willing to remain there?
Sure.
Okay. And superintendent evaluation?
I'd be willing
Okay.
to be on that.
I would do that.
Okay. And I guess that's it then.
So the others stay the same?
Yes. I'm assuming we're agreed that the others will stay the same, or does anyone have anything to say about anything else?
Did you gain a committee and not lose a committee
Apparently.
Yeah, Mark, you gained one and didn't get
I'm
one.
only on two right now, so
Oh,
I'm a
okay.
little light, so if there's.
Legislative liaison? Would you be willing to do
What
that?
exactly, I mean, I could do that.
It's basically doing our advocacy mostly around school funding and other school issues that have a legislative connection.
Yeah, I could jump on that.
Okay. Thank you for taking me off the hook.
Yeah.
That's usually a committee that's most active in the winter and early spring.
Yeah.
Okay, any other comments or thoughts about the committees?
Is that about equal?
Let's see.
Oh,
I mean, that's never exactly equal, but it looks like it's pretty well spread out. So I think we're, unless anyone is objecting to how many committees there are, I think we can just go ahead. One thing I did want to indicate is that, as we discussed in the meeting earlier this month, there's a question of the curriculum committee,
Mhm.
which we thought we should hold off to discuss when you're back. So I think we can put that off to the August 10th meeting, and then
Sure.
put that on the agenda so we can discuss that issue. Okay? All right, so moving right along, we have Bassett Health Services.
Thanks, Sandra.
Oh, sorry.
So in the notes, hold on just a second, let me get here. In the notes, we had put in the information, I thought we did. Oh, it's down,
under
it's down
approve. I
underneath.
didn't move it up.
Right, we didn't move it up. Under the item for approval, we put the information, sorry, we just moved the discussion up, Scott, for you. About the Bassett Health, their contract, which is the same one we've had for a number of years, is a flat rate of service plus then any physicals that they do. So we did attach the board policy. Let me just get to that. That talks about how the school district will provide student physicals, and we gave you the information on the physicals that we did last year. And there is,
Yeah.
this is the only contract we have with them.
Don't we have a contract with the doctor?
No.
Okay, so, are there any questions? Oh, first of all, I guess since this is something that has to be approved, do I hear a motion to approve?
No, this is.
No, this is just discussion. This
Oh,
is
okay.
just
So we
discussion.
put it up to
All right,
discussion,
we'll move
so.
to approve it later.
Right,
Okay.
so Scott, we could answer everybody's
All right, so
questions.
are there any questions or discussion on this item?
Yes, I still have questions. So, I thought that Dr. Riley, am I getting the name right? I thought Dr. Riley had a role in our health, the required health hierarchy, for lack of better words. I don't remember what it was called with the state, as the person that, the medical person at the top of that, and he got a fee for that. And that was approved separately in the last year. I don't remember when we approved that.
I don't.
And
We've
that's
never
where my
paid-
question came up, because in the Bassett agreement, we're also approving for professional services. So it wasn't only the fee for the physicals per physical. I get that and I understand that. My question was, well, if we're paying for professional services here, but we're also giving money to the doctor for professional services, I question what professional services are we getting from Bassett directly?
That is part of, two things. First of all, the Bassett provides the medical services for any special education participation by the doctor. So that's not part of the physical or of the pre-employment physicals. That's part of the $5,000. And under number 4 is where they talk about specifically about the services that they provide. And we've used, what did we use Bassett for last year? There was, I can't remember off the top of my head, but there are times when we've asked them for assistance with determining infectious disease policies and procedures and some of those other pieces of information. So number 4 outlines the services that they offer as part of the $5,000 fee, in addition to the special education piece.
Okay. Do we have a separate contract with Dr. Riley directly?
No. Leah? No.
We've never paid him directly for anything.
Okay.
Any other questions, Scott, or anyone else?
No, no.
Okay. did you want to stick around for any more of the meeting, or do you want to get to sleep?
Is there anything else that you feel would be advantageous for me to stay with?
Well, the only other
Listen to
thing,
comments.
that is going on is we're hiring a number of people in executive session.
Yeah, I read through the latest one, and I agree, the latest revised version in board docs, and I agreed with your comment of the letter of recommendations, and Patty sent those to us, or at least me, after
Yeah.
I told her I still couldn't see them, and that satisfied me on that one person.
Okay.
And then the other person, I sent an email, and hopefully you all were able to get that. But the rest of it, I didn't have any concerns on.
Okay. So we'll go over the content of that email when we're discussing that person.
Thank you.
And we'll consider it.
So I would just listen for the questions and comments from the floor, and
Okay.
then I'll get some rest.
Okay. Sounds like a plan. All right, so, okay, so next point on the agenda, we'll go back to the original agenda, which is questions and comments from the floor. Do we have a list?
Well, it's, her name's first and then my name's.
Oh, okay.
I'm not really worried about
the order.
All right, I'll let you speak first.
Okay.
I'm just gonna stand, 'cause that way I
First,
can
could
see
you
people.
introduce yourself,
Yeah.
please?
My name is Kateri Bossart. I live in Canajoharie, have for almost all of my life. I have 2 kids who go to school here. Johnny is going into 2nd grade. Alex is going into 5th grade. The school is why I live in Canajoharie. And I'm really not great at remembering everything I'm gonna say and actually saying it. So I wrote it in a letter and I made some copies. So if you guys wanna like share that, refer to it later, that's fine too. I think there's like 7 copies, so. My concern is my daughter's class, 4th grade moving into 5th grade. The behavior issues in that class are horrendous, for lack of a better word. The kids, for the minor things, they swear, they interrupt class, they do all of the things that 4th grade kids do. However, there's also kids who are having tantrums, meltdowns, throwing objects. The classes have to be evacuated. And I have spoken with, this year her teacher was Mrs.
Excuse me a
Lever.
second.
Yes.
Since we're talking about some kids and so forth, I think we probably should adjourn to executive session,
Okay.
so we can feel more free to discuss
Okay, that's fine.
it. So, do I hear a
I
motion?
need to read out.
Second?
Okay.
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Okay, so excuse you. I'd like to ask Jen
I will.
and Stacy to please stay since you're both in.
So my name is Patty Prime, and I work here at the school. I just have a really quick question. I wasn't going to speak tonight, but I just had a question that popped into my head about the smart board or the smart technology grant, and where are we on that? And did you approve the one-on-one computers with kids, or I don't know if anything went through an approval process. I know it was up for a vote one time, and it got put to a different meeting, and I just didn't know where that was anymore because I missed a few meetings. That was my question.
Please.
We will be reconvening the tech committee to look at how to implement the one-to-one and put together the whole plan. The missing piece right now that the committee will have to grapple with is the support piece. It will do no good to give every child a computer if we have no support on how to use it, which is different than the does it work?
Right.
So that's the piece that the committee will have to chew on so that we can put that plan back together, take out some of the things that the board had suggested and substitute in the one-to-one.
Okay, so you approved one-to-one, that's where you're going, or you
That's
haven't
where-
decided yet?
No, that's the work that the committee will do to submit it, to
Okay.
submit the Smart Schools Plan.
All right, thank you.
As I recall, we as a board asked for that to be investigated, right?
Yeah.
To see that we could get to that point.
Yes. And the structure within schools to do that is a technology committee, and then there is also a technology plan that'll all fold into, in addition to the smart schools piece.
Yes.
Okay, so, seeing no other speakers, we'll move to the report section of the agenda.
Can you introduce our student, Mark?
Oh, why don't you introduce yourself?
Oh, hello, I'm Danielle Monk. I'm a senior, obviously. What else do you want to know?
Well, I can just say welcome and thank you for volunteering to do this.
Thank you.
Yes, welcome to the board.
Thank you.
I was wondering why you were sitting here also.
I just came to relax, you know.
Really, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, the first one on the reports is the community education program. We have an attachment for that. My computer wants to restart.
Oh, but you can't see it.
So who are we going to give this report?
I am.
On what screen?
Never
Oh, okay, yes, all right.
It's okay, I have it up. You don't need to try to get it on the screen for me.
Well, it's very pretty, so if you can pull it up.
I know, but it's,
How many of these people? I have it. No, we're
Oh.
computers. I will
No.
show it to them.
Right.
I'll start my computer in a moment.
no,
So
I have it.
is our
I'm gonna
first,
unplug you from here, Scott, but you'll be on the,
Okay.
all right.
so let me just, as a first year of community education running, I had a goal of 10 and I was really close, and then I had someone back out last minute, so I unfortunately made it to 9 programs. So that's okay, we'll get there next year. We had a great partnership with Arkel, though. That was very exciting. We did quite a few tech ambassador events where we had students from our CSI program go down and work with individuals on basic technology. So with we had kids that were set up Facebook for people. We had a very tense moment where we moved over one person's email account to another one. It was very tense because we couldn't lose everything. But even to one person wanting help on a board from Angry Birds. So it was rewarding. It was a very fun experience. I think not only did the individuals that were participating, but our students also got a lot out of those events, and we're going to continue those into next year. We also did holiday crafts through at the Art Health Center, and that was fun. We had a lot of the community members come. Rachel came and made some crafts with us, and Leah did. So remiss. That was a great time. A lot of variety of crafts, from making cards to little snowmen and ornaments. So that was fantastic, and we again are hoping to do that, and we like to expand that into the fall as well. And the fall just got away from me this year, or the
Was
spring.
that a one-time event or?
Yeah, the holiday crafts was a one-time. There was 4 different stations, and people for $5 would come and make each of the crafts. So it was very successful, and we had people just coming off the streets too. So that was cool. Then we had knitting, that turned into something far more. It turned into an extended knitting club.
Yes, it is.
Defensive driving, I just contracted with the woman at the Schultz Agency to do a couple more classes next year. We're looking at some evening classes, as well as a Saturday to meet more people's needs. It was very successful. We had about 25 people here one Saturday for that class, so that was fantastic. CPR and first aid, we did that down at East Hill with Mr. Settle, who did that class. It was smaller. We start with large numbers. We do an enrollment. People can sign up online. A lot of people sign up, and then we get about a half to a third that come, but that's okay. People are still coming, so that's fantastic. Self-defense was very exciting. A lot of people were very angry and took it out on the nice police officers from Amsterdam. So that was a good time.
And no one got arrested?
No, not yet. I mean, they don't drive in Amsterdam, but no one got arrested here. And we would like to do that again. Some people actually asked for a more advanced version next time. they might have to bring it back up, I don't know. So, but that was a great class, and the SAT prep was fantastic. It was well received. Did you attend that one?
No, I
you
didn't, sadly.
You could give me no information on that one. But I got great feedback from the students. First of all, the students would be like, it was great, and we're talking about 7 to 8:30 on Wednesday nights, and the fact that they were still excited about the next day, and it was such a great class, was very exciting. So, I've already reached out to them to do one again in preparation for our June 2nd offering of the SATs in the spring. So, as the most part, it was a positive experience. I would like to get more people involved. I'm still looking for someone to do a cooking class. I will come for you to do a cooking class. Still looking for that. I am reaching out to people just to see what other offerings are out there. Crafts. We have people that are like, yeah, I want to be a part of it, and then getting them to solidify a date. So I'm gonna start a little bit earlier this year to make sure that I get there. Total expenditures was really low. It was about $3,000. We had a lot of people offer their services. We had Joe Lenz, Dina Lenz's husband, did a notary public class. One woman showed up, but she had been asking for it all year, and he said at first it was a minimum of 8 that he would, and we had one person who ran the class anyway. So kudos to him, but he didn't want it to be paid for it. So I keep sending him the form just to make it happen. But so a lot of people are donating their time, and the $3,000, most of it went to our portion of the SAT prep class. And we spoke last time, I believe. Mr. Ferguson suggested that we pay for the class, but again, as long as we have kids, they're more likely to come if there's a financial upfront, and then gladly return their checks at the end. But I think these are some great opportunities, and I'm always looking for suggestions. So please pass them my way, not just a suggestion, but a person that would actually like to teach that class as well, would be great. So, and the last slide there are just some things that we are looking at. I'm looking to partner with Catholic Charities next year to do they do like parenting type style classes. We haven't really solidified what that will look like yet, because we're going to try to pair it to what we see as a big need here, as well as things that will get people in. So we're working on that. We already did the Notary Public class. I'm already one down. Internet safety class we would like to do, so those things around appropriate use of the internet, and we're already contracting with the state police for that one. Therapy dog training, we keep on talking about that one. I was hoping to do it more this summer, but that didn't work out because that's really an outdoor thing, or Gary would kill me with all the dog hair. And a photography class potentially, because that seems to be very popular, so I'm trying to get a local photographer that will come and do that for us. So just some ideas for next year. Like I said, if you have an idea, and more importantly, someone that would like to teach it, let me know. Because we can definitely expand this.
I thought one of the things that we had mentioned in a board meeting, I thought it was around conscious discipline somehow, but I can't remember the specific that we said.
And it was
an idea to put in the community education.
It was a book talk, and I believe that Michelle did that, correct? She kind of reached out.
One book talk, yes.
Yes, she did a book talk that didn't get wrapped in within the community ed, but that is definitely something that we could expand upon now that we kind of have our feet wet.
And the other suggestion is just thinking about our community, maybe something around financial management or budgeting or something like that might be a really good topic to potentially put out there.
I was actually earlier today looking up like banks and people that could perhaps assist us there. There was, Dina Lenz has suggested looking at more of like that financial management in terms of going to college and so on, that type of work in the fall. So, but it's expanding that and talking about balancing your checkbook and those basic skills I think would be valuable, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
In regards to the SAT prep,
Yep.
I would like to make sure that as we look at that for next year, that we are consistent in how we do that across all of the participants.
Oh, yes. Are you saying?
The fee structure.
Yep, we have a fee structure now that was based on free or reduced lunch, but then are you saying in terms of reimbursement?
I understand, but what I'm suggesting is that be made available, using the same process to all students, not on some graduated fee schedule, but however we decide that if we decide that we want some minimum thing of a $20 commitment for the
Yes.
students so that they show up and the school pays for it, but we handle that consistently
Oh,
across all
absolutely,
students
yes.
and how we manage that.
Absolutely.
Okay, any other questions or comments? I have a question. How are we publicizing these classes once we arrive at them?
We are, a lot through Facebook. I've done signs, colorful signs. I've done, we push it out through our social media, so through our app, we push, several out. We've also put, what was the website? The website, thank you. The website is up, are the big ones right now. And word of mouth, a lot of times, I'm using as well. That tends to go further. I'm finding the signs are not all that, they're with white noise, so. But, a lot on, Facebook has gotten us a lot.
One thing I would suggest we consider moving forward is getting to church leaders so that they can address their parishioners.
That's a
and,
great idea.
This is certainly something that would be of interest and useful.
Yeah, cool, yeah.
That's a captive audience.
Yes, absolutely.
Can I ask another question about your cooking? In your note, you said struggling to find interest from instructors.
Yes.
Can you elaborate on that? Maybe we can give some assistance.
Absolutely. Avoiding names, I've reached out to a lot of local gurus of cooking, we should say, and I hit a wall with 3 individuals saying, yes, we're very excited, and then personal things happen within their lives that at the last minute, I can't help you out. This isn't a right time for me. So I don't know if you have suggestions of other people that I haven't hounded.
I would suggest that there's a whole culinary program that has people that teach it at Cobleskill.
Oh, there is, and you know what? Ironically, I was looking at FM too because it's also my son. So
Oh, yeah,
yes,
yeah.
so that is yes, and I did not think of Cobleskill. I was thinking FM, but excellent. I will reach out to them too.
Because most professors have to do some community service as a part of their role.
I didn't realize that there. I can totally exploit that. Perfect.
And their sons might go to school here.
And even better, and you can send me the number.
Facebook.
Perfect. All right, thank you. That was great.
Okay, anything else? All right, moving right along. Yeah. Okay, the next thing is superintendent report.
Just three items this evening. One, just as you know, summertime is a prime time for filling vacant positions, so we have on this evening's agenda a variety of recommendations for the board, including elementary music, high school art, school social worker, some coaches, so those you've all seen. And we continue to work on those positions and work on interviewing so that we can fill those positions before the start of the school year. The big news of the summer so far was that last Thursday or Friday of last week, we were informed that our community eligibility program application was accepted. So we will be able to feed and offer every child in the district breakfast and lunch at no cost beginning in the start of the school year. This is huge. It's really huge, and we're very excited about that. So Mrs. Dolan Brody and Mr. Myers, our communication specialists, are developing the necessary communications to inform our families and our community. There are going to be several ways that they are going to communicate. Newspaper, letter home. We're going to ask the principals to include something in their back to school letters using social media. And we're going to keep hitting it and hitting it and hitting it in a variety of different ways up until the start of the school year. So we're very excited about that. So be watching for that publicity to start. There's a whole schedule that they have developed. So that's a big kudos, and my thanks. I think our thanks to Lori Dolan Brody for her work on that application. The third thing is it's the middle of summer. If you see any one of our custodians or buildings and ground folks, please give them a big thanks. They are working really hard to get the buildings in shape for the start of the school year. We resealed the high school driveway this summer as part of a regular maintenance plan, but we also built into it paving the path between the high school and East Hill Middle School complex. Many students and staff use that, and it's muddy sometimes, it's snowy sometimes. We had a wheelchair stuck out there one time a few years ago, so we're really excited that that path is now going to be safe for people to use. It is a well-used path. So that's just something we're going to be able to do. So those are the big highlights so far.
Any questions, comments?
Who did the ceiling? Is it Hertz Paving?
There.
All right, I'll talk to you later about, how they did it. what you thought.
You have to, you can get that,
I
you
know
can have
nothing
Gary reach
about
out to
paving.
you.
Yeah, I was curious to know how the cost and, the bidding process, but
Mark,
We'll
Yes.
get that information and we'll give it to everybody, okay?
I just had one thing, I'm not gonna be able to make it till the executive session. But when you talk about the openings, though, tonight, those that are not 100%, in other words, they're not 100% FTE,
Oh,
if you could make sure that you discuss that so that we're clear the workload equals the percentage FTE that they're getting. Okay?
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, my computer decided it needed to update and turn it off and turn it on, so I need to
You're
look at
gonna
someone
take
else's.
mine?
No, just,
No, you need it,
I
you're
just-
fine.
I don't know why it's still
oh,
playing.
it's making noises, it's coming.
Well, I know, but it shouldn't have been.
It put a big thing up in the middle, I couldn't read it, so I had to do
I'll
it.
have to find out why.
And it wouldn't let me sign off. Okay, so, we'll go now to approvals. We have the minutes for July 8th, June 8th, I'm sorry.
Is it okay if I sign off here?
Yep,
Okay.
have a safe trip
Travel
home.
safe,
Bye.
enjoy your remaining time, bye Scott.
see ya.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, any discussion or questions? Alrighty, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, that is approved. The budget transfer schedule, number 13. Do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second?
I'll second.
Okay, any questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Approved? Okay, bills, general, federal, and school lunch. Do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second?
I'll second.
Okay, any questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Treasurer's report. Can I have a motion?
Second.
Any questions or comments?
Nope.
Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Transportation contracts. Can I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second?
I'll second.
Any questions or comments?
These were both for summer only.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Okay. It's ready to go. Okay, move this up here. Oh, come back, come back. Okay, credit card approvals. Can I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second?
I'll second.
Okay, let me just give a little bit of background on this. As you may remember, Scott at a previous meeting had talked about some concerns about the use of the credit card and the credit limit and so forth and so on. That's why we got a couple, we put this on the agenda to discuss that, and also got some policies from a couple of other school districts just to reflect on it. And the floor is open for discussion. What?
One of the questions was about procedure.
Oh, okay.
And Leah's here tonight to give some information on how the procedure currently works, which was one of the first questions.
Okay,
Um,
is that agreeable?
Sure.
Okay,
Sure,
go ahead.
please.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what exactly Scott's questions were, because I wasn't at the last meeting, but something about approvals and credit limits. And looking at our policy, which is the first tab on there, it was done back in 2010 when we first got the credit card. And it does say that, and we do get purchase orders, Debbie approves the purchase order says it's gonna be purchased on the school credit card. So we are following the policy, and we spoke today and we think that the policy should be looked at again, updated, maybe some stuff added, some language taken out. So we also included, 2 other schools' policies for their credit cards. Everybody does it different, like we have Albans on here, it's 3 pages long. I think what they do is they actually give out credit cards to their employees, we don't do that. There's only a couple people that even have one in their name, so maybe we should update the policy to reflect that. Not the person's name, but like, the superintendent, the principal, the, director of buildings and grounds. So I think we should update the policy to reflect what we do and to make it better.
Do you have any thoughts about what ways it might be better?
We'd have to look at the other 2 policies that we got from the other schools and what we're currently doing. And we could establish a credit limit to each card, but we only have an overall limit of 20,000. And you also asked a question about rewards. There isn't any. I looked it up. We don't spend enough. You have to spend like 150,000 a year. There's no way we spend that. And then at that point, then you would get like hotel discounts and airline, but we don't spend enough.
So a couple of suggestions would be around, in the policy, perhaps revising it to talk about the positions that would hold or have access to the credit card, as well as if you wanted to put in an individual limit per card. That would answer Scott's question about what's the upper limit for approval. The approvals all go through the general purchase requisition process anyway, and the way our structure is set up with the CBO is I have to approve those once they're put in. So it's the same process we use for everything else. But those would be the 2 things we might want to consider in the you might want to
And when you said 20,000, that's 20,000 for the year.
It's
Or is it
20,000 for the
20,000?
whole card at that
Okay.
time, so it's just like any other credit card, you got, your personal card, it's like $10,000 limit or something. So we only have 20,000 until it's paid, so, and we have never, there hasn't been any purchase that's over like 2,000.
Another option would be, as we do the quarterly reports, perhaps we could break that. If the board was interested, you could also see what those expenditures just were on the credit card. They're part of the bills and warrants anyway, but that would be a separate, back to your. So that would just be another option if you're interested. Primarily, we use it when people go on conferences for food, which has a limit, or transportation. Sometimes, if
There's stuff that
comes up that a credit card is facilitates the purchase of it more quickly. Sometimes Gary needs some materials for repairs or things like that.
And a lot of companies that some teachers want supplies from only do online. So you have to go
Yeah.
online, and usually I have to do it, so.
Any other questions or comments? My own feeling is, because a question has been raised about it, I think it would probably be helpful in our monthly financial report to just have a listing of credit card expenditures on that credit card each month, just so we could look at that separately and discuss if there might need to be any changes in the ways in which it's used. Because right now, there's no separate accounting of that, it's all just in our normal expenditures and warrants and so forth.
Yeah,
So
it's there.
I think,
Yeah.
at least for a while, that might be a useful thing, and from what I understand, Leah, it would not be a big deal to produce that? Is that
No.
correct? Okay, so, when we
Yeah, right now it's grouped into, on the general fund treasurer's report, it's
Yeah.
grouped into other numbers that say credit card.
Yeah.
We could just break it out on there, or if we say a little more detail, like, this is the amount, and this amount was for supplies, or this amount was for conferences.
I think initially that might be
Something like
helpful,
that.
just to have a specific report that we could look at, and so that would kind of clear up any questions and give us a way to monitor it, so if anyone has concerns, they could raise them. Is that agreeable?
Sure.
Yeah.
So before we go over the whole policy, if we could just implement
Just
that,
start doing.
as a interim. Okay, so do we really need to approve anything, because that's already an existing policy?
Yes.
We do.
Yes, you just need to, it was on the reorganizational that Mrs. Grimshaw is the approver of that, so.
Okay, so that we would have to
Yes.
approve, but then we could still bring it up later as a policy question.
Yes.
Okay, so there's a I would ask for
You have a motion.
there's a motion, okay, that Debbie be approved as the guardian of the card, or however they can say it.
Right, yes.
Do I have a motion? We did that already?
You did.
Yeah,
Okay.
so-
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Okay, thank you. Next is agreement with Mayfield for shared athletic director. Just a little background, it looked like we might be losing Brian Dunn, but then he still stayed with us. Because he had, was hoping for some other job, didn't come through, which we were very happy about, I'm sorry to say, for Brian. So, can I have a motion? Second? Okay, questions? Comments?
I had one question, I think I know the answer to this. It's a straight 50-50 with Mayfield, and that salary that's listed there, not really salary, that's our portion with benefits.
But he's our employee.
Sure.
and
Oh,
Mayfield
okay,
pays
so
Yeah,
us.
Mayfield
okay,
pays
that's,
us.
all right, that's what I was thinking, thank you.
Okay, any other questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Okay. Agreement with Wheelerville for shared music teacher. Do I hear a motion?
Make the motion.
Second?
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion, questions, comments? This again is, we have the shared employee,
It's
his
the
hours.
same situation, okay.
Yes.
that-
His hours in Wheelerville
We own
pays
the
half.
position.
That was gonna be my question, but I
Yeah.
kind of figured that's based off that.
Again, it's nothing different than we've done in the past years.
Sure.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Passes. Benetech. So this is, well, first of all, can I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Okay, so can you give some background on this?
Yep, I believe this is the third,
It has been that
Yeah,
long,
yes.
yes.
This is part of the Affordable Care Act compliance that we have to do. We contract with Benetech to do all the tracking of all of our employees to, that having to do with health insurance. And then they take care of issuing all the necessary paperwork at the end of the year. So it's something that we have to do to be in compliance with the Affordable Care Act. And Mark, you had some questions about, what happens if this is repealed or changed or?
Well, obviously, because
What
the
happens
ACA is up in the air right now.
Yeah,
And this is, I think, a 2-year contract, if I'm remembering right.
yeah.
And so my concern is that if the ACA is repealed, for example, are we still bound by the payment agreement in here? And I think there should be some escape clause for us.
Yeah, and we
should-
looked at,
Should something of that nature happen, either now or if they don't let it die, they'll bring it up again in 6
Yeah.
months or a year. And so that was the question.
yeah, on page 14, it's 14 or 14, it says, at the end, number three. Says you can, upon mutual agreement, get out within 90 days notice, with a 90-day notice. And also, when I asked them about this, because I called them, instead of paying up front, we can just pay month to month, and then if something changes.
But this seems to say that we'd have to pay for 90 days.
Yeah, but, I'm thinking if it does go away, like say, it ends December, we're still gonna have to probably do all the forms and everything, so then you're looking at March till all those forms go out. So that's what I'm thinking it might happen with this, and then we would just stop paying.
Right, so and they're good with the month-to-month
Yeah.
approach?
If you go back up, Patty, can you go back up to the top of that, just that same page, underneath it says the fee will be billed monthly in 12 equal amounts, go right there.
Yeah, and that's what they said when I asked them, they said, just don't pay up front, or don't pay the whole thing for the year.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Next point is Special Ed Solutions Agreement. Do you have some background on that, please?
Yes, we have.
Huh? Oh, there does have to be a motion first.
I can see that.
No, that's good. Do I hear a second? I was doing pretty good up to this point.
This is
And
12
now
hours
I'm-
of information for us.
This is equally as fun as Benetech. This has to do with our Medicaid, and it basically oversees our Medicaid eligibility of students, ensures that our paperwork is appropriate, is submitted to Medicaid in the 12 different forms that they require, so they oversee all of that. And to answer your question about the, if something would happen to the Affordable Care Act, it's the same 90-day, and we pay monthly, so.
Because, obviously, if they change the ACA, Medicaid might go, certainly the school part of it would be one of the first things dropped apparently, which would be a disaster, but that's what we're facing if they go forward. So any other questions or comments?
So just help me understand, generally, how does this work? Because I'm not familiar with this, so.
In what way?
Like, so, you're talking about, this is a online, or is it how exactly does
Okay,
it work?
there's a couple steps that we had to change once the Medicaid system all changed over last year in
Yeah.
March. Okay, so everything changed over, and now we actually are contracted through a company, Frontline, who does our IP direct, that does the
Okay.
Medicaid direct as well. So all of the notes and everything that our related service providers, speech, in our case, speech, OTPT,
Okay,
they get put into that system where the information is housed and translated into the appropriate systems.
all right,
Special Ed Solutions takes that information, ensures that, first of all, that we have students that are eligible for Medicaid, so they go through all of those lists, ensure that they clean up our data so that it can then be submitted to Medicaid for our reimbursement,
okay,
is how it works.
perfect. So the $350 a month is just a flat fee?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, for their services,
Oh,
yes.
nice.
And we are constantly calling them and talking to them, so they earn their $350 to make sure that we are
Yeah,
in the
no, I
correct.
mean,
So that we are up to date, and it's a small company, but they've been very.
yeah, I'm imagining in the long run, you're actually saving money from the time and energy.
Well,
and
and
what
you're
gets paid
ensuring
back.
maximum reimbursement
Yeah.
versus if honestly we were muddling through, there's so many, you have to really be up on it hour by
Yeah.
hour, so,
Yeah, no, good, thank you.
yep.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Approved. Mary Imogene Bassett Hospital Agreement.
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second.
Any questions or comments? Well, first, can we have some background on it?
This is our annual contract with Bassett for the things we discussed prior. They provide medical services. They also provide appropriate medical personnel to act as the doctor in charge, or doctor representative, excuse me, of the Committee on Special Education. They provide consultation services. They do infectious disease with us, provision of educational resources, and if we needed them to, but we don't, review and sign orders for OT, PT, or speech. This is an ongoing contract that we've had with them for more years than I've been here.
Do they come here to the district, or do you just go right down, do the kids go right down?
For
No,
physicals,
for
they come.
physicals, they come
Physicals.
here.
Okay.
And there is an additional per charge for the physicals, and we gave you the information of what that was last year. And that is part of our board policy.
A lot of kids just get it done with their normal physician.
Yeah.
So we don't have an inordinate number that we're actually paying $30 for. Yep.
Is Bassett the group that we have to check with, concussion?
Yes, for athletic purposes,
Mhm.
yeah, we will, if the student chooses not to have their own doctor do a check, but they also have to be checked by
Right.
Bassett, that's part of the medical
That's part of
services,
it,
yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Gervin and Filazzo. This is our standard annual agreement with our attorney law firm. Is there anything different this year?
No, same amount.
Okay, could I ask for a motion?
No,
I don't
no,
think
no.
so. Could I have a motion? Second?
I'll second.
Okay. Any questions or comments? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Nope. Passes. Vaccine program agreement with Rite Aid.
Second.
Mrs. Schwaber.
This, we, our nurses found, we decided to contract with them because previously we were going through Bassett and through Dr. Riley, and we were charged $30 per vaccine. Rite Aid, by bringing them in, will go right through our insurance, so we're not paying twice. So essentially, every person through our insurance gets their free vaccine, I guess we'll call it. So you get your vaccine, and what we were doing is we were providing the vaccine here, but then we were being charged for it. So it was almost like $60 for the same vaccine. So by doing it through Rite Aid, they come, they're actually very accommodating, they already have dates picked out as long as this is approved. So the teachers will get their vaccines as appropriate, and they just show them their card and boom, 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 it's done. So there's no, and then the extra cost.
Great. Okay, any questions or comments?
Are teachers required to get,
No, it's up to you.
so that's up to them, and they can go and get them?
Yep, they sign up, we have them come, they usually spend a day, in both buildings, and then teachers just sign up beforehand saying, I want a vaccine, and a lot of times we'll have like an aide or something, just could go pop in, get your vaccine, and then head back to class, so, yeah. So it's pretty convenient.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Philmont Community Action Agency Memorandum of Understanding.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Basically, it's ensuring that our students through Head Start.
I'm sorry?
Our students through Head Start, that's through Philmont Community Action, that we follow the CPSE rules, so that once, once we follow through that and ensure that the students with disabilities have their appropriate, accommodate with, and most of the time services, related services, which we do.
Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Carries. Four Winds tutorial contract. Do I hear a motion?
Make the motion.
Second?
I'll second.
Okay.
Any of our students that go to Four Winds, for an extended time, they must receive tutoring services. So if you're, this is 1 to 2 hours depending on your age, and we contract with them to provide those services.
Questions? Comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Carries. Wildwood Agreement for Services. Do I have a motion? Okay.
This is a contract for a student who is in placement at Wildwood. Soon won't be having this one potentially, slowly aging out, but is doing very well.
Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Okay, can I have a motion to recess into executive session? All in favor? Okay, well, thank you very much for coming, Patty, and
Bye. See you next time.
Mark, can we take like 2 minutes break? Okay.
oh yeah.
I mean, we don't get it until I send the finance report in. I mean, the 75,000. I mean, this government would.
They tell me I have to get I'm ready to receive the form, or they're gonna forward more money. So I don't know if I'll just fill it out and say, we have a.
Wait, I'm gonna get a creamer.
What one has to go?
Yeah, they have to have, Leah, I went and told you they have to have.
No.
Because we
Oh,
didn't.
I was putting it in.
No, I know. Yeah.
I might use it all
Why not?
before it goes bad anyway.
Yeah, well, it's like, yeah, the big ones.
Yeah, that's fine. 4 and they're all over the map. So I'm just gonna fill it out, just you're getting a new student. But they can email me and say you don't need it.
Never, Jen.
And literally the one kid, but I don't want to hold it next year. So yes, I need them. I know, and I'm sorry, that's what that's what me.
You know what, I'll use Gail out of the library. She's gonna have to.
I'm here tomorrow.
We were just saying we're both
I'm here until I have to go do that.
Right,
Read, will you read that?
Right.
Will you guys read that real quick and just say,
Oh,
I have to,
all right.
my geometry exam scores changed?
Yes, okay.
I'd like one of us to be there at least.
Right.
I'm trying not to.
But I don't wanna put it off again if we don't have to.
Yeah. And the thing is,
And I'm very happy to be going away, but it was a nice surprise.
Yes, right.
We're just going overnight.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to
Good
get straight.
night, Leah, thank
Okay,
you.
straight up.
Oh,
Jen,
Yeah,
we have done 3 kids who have failed before that.
Yeah, I did. I have to, probably leave around 11:30.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
11:45 because the ice cream.
You never come to a meeting unless you have.
Yeah, yeah.
I need
And
to get
even
my
when
ice
it's in
cream
the
then.
pump house.
All right, there's gonna be a lot of